Opening pack after pack. Commander Deck Building Challenge. I have Foundations Starter Collection here and 100 sleeves, and we will build a full Commander deck from it. Welcome to my channel. This is opening pack after pack, but this box have been opened. These are all of the cards from the Starter Collection you can open, and we are ready to build a Commander deck today. We have around 350 non-land and 100 land cards to build our deck. If you want to see the opening of this box, please go on to my shorts video. I posted it recently, and it will be posted into the description of this video as well. The first thing we will need to do is find a commander, so all other cards going away, while the legendary creatures are coming to the middle. There are many options to build a commander deck here. We could go monocolor, multicolor, or 5-color. In monocolor, very good options like building a human deck with either Sir Elin or Linden, and you can add the Zitapa, and this Lyra Downbringer could make an angel deck as well. We have some mono green. I don't think there is enough mono green Death Touch to support Fiend of Fangbearer though. In dual color, Simic with Prime Speaker Zagana, Tatyova, and Zimone are the strongest combination. And also there are two cards for Gruul, Halana and Alana, and Ruby, Daring Tracker. And if we would go with the White Angels, we could go into Boros with Aurelia, the War Leader, as commander. But as the card pool is quite limited, building out of 450 cards, I decided to go with 5 colors. Yeah, it's the hardest to do, but we will try it. Obviously, the land base is quite subliminal and limited, but I will try the best. It's possible to cast the commander with any colors, and then just the other colors will need to be fixed. Let's see what this Ramos Dragon Engine card do. It's a 6-mana colorless legendary artifact creature dragon with flying 4/4, and whenever you cast a spell, put a 1/1 counter on Ramos for each of that spell's colors, and remove 5 1/1 counters from Ramos. Add 2 mana of each color, activate only once per each turn. So basically, Ramos itself is color fixing if you can cast enough multicolored spells. As well, he will grow up. For the next step, to support his ability with each color of that spell, I will look at all of the multicolor cards in the box, not just the legendaries which are eligible for commanders, but all other ones, and we'll try to figure out which one to use. Just double checked, and there is not a single multicolored card in the 3 play boosters we opened. The commander is in sleeve, and I managed to find quite many multicolor cards, laid out all of them for you, and now I am going to select the best ones I want to play in the deck. I will focus on spells which can affect a commander game, maybe affect multiple players or prevent myself from big stuff like Boros Charm. This is probably one of the strongest instants here. With Ramos, I will try to go into like kind of a dragon sub-team. I found this Savage Venmo, which also can fix some of my mana. And with the 1/1 counter ability, I will try to find spells and creatures which care about 1/1 counters, so that will be a second sub-team of the deck. And this Zimone Paradox Sculptor will be great for that. It has an ability, green and blue, tap, double the number of each kind of counter on up to 2 target creatures and the artifacts you control. That looks really nice with the commander. So we have 3 more cards, 4 out of 100 now. Okay, let's look at these cards. We have 3 spells here, Mortify, Deadly Brew, and Master Pulse. They all seems to be pretty decent removal in commander. This does make each player sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker, and even returns something from our graveyard. Master Pulse destroys target non-land permanent and all of the permanents with the same name. It's great against stuff like treasure tokens or if everyone has Soaring, and Mortify is just a nice on-spot removal. 3 more cards in the deck. We are 7 out of 100. I found one more dragon here. It's a little bit more costly for 4 mana, Immerstone Predator the name, but it has flying, and all of the dragons has flying. So I've seen an Empyrean Eagle, all of creatures you control with flying at +1/+1, And then also 3 other flying creatures here. This one is still in the consideration zone because it's 7 mana, but another sub-team could be this flying team. For now, I decided to put all 5 into the deck. Maybe this Droxcall River later will be cut. Now we are on 12 cards out of 100. I sorted the remaining multicolor cards into 2 piles. Basically, any of these cards could be used, but there should be some cut and we just cannot put everything in it which is multicolor. So I kept these 4 which will go into the deck. This one is a flyer which gains you life and draw cards, even if it's a little bit expensive. We'll see if it works. This is an enchantment which gives you lifelink and trample, so I would like to go a try with it. And then Wardens of the Cycle is a creature which gives you life or card draw if a creature died this turn. So we can try this. Card draw is always useful. And this Consuming Aberration, despite not fitting any of the teams, looks pretty strong in Commander, where large graveyards can grow. 4 more cards in, we are 16 out of 100. Now let's move on to the other legendary creatures we set aside and choose which ones we can play. We have 4 flying creatures here, including Latlis Dragon Queen, which is a dragon, obviously. These are quite expensive cards mana-wise, so we will need our commander's ability to provide enough mana to cast these. But also, this Ruby Daring Tracker is a mana dork which can give us green or red mana. And then Tatyova and Prime Speaker Zegana are both card draw, which is very important to have in Commander. 7 more cards in the deck, we have 23 out of 100. The starter collection has 4 colorless Commander staple cards as well. Soaring, Arcane Signet, Command Tower and Swiftfoot Boots. These are the next 4 cards going into the deck. We are on 27 out of 100 now. Having a 6 mana Commander and a 5 color deck, I am looking for ramp cards in this collection now. And unfortunately many staples of this kind are missing. There is no Farseek or Cultivate or Kodama's Reach or even Rampant Growth. But I found these cards in front of us and some of them do a quite good job for ramping. Lanovarevs, Bushwhack, Cultivator's Caravan, Hedron Archive and Gilded Lotus are going into the deck. Though I just remembered that colorless cards does not trigger the commander, so I will need to focus on reducing the number of colorless cards despite the commander itself is colorless. Realizing that, I will not play Burnished Hardened Expedition map, which I found earlier, but instead we have Circuitous Route, which searches for up to 2 basic lands or gate cards, and many of the dual lands here are gates. They are can't enter tapped, but if you can search for 2 tapped dual lands with this, it's pretty nice. Vizier of Manager is not exactly ramp, but I think this is a very powerful card, especially the last ability here. You can spend mana of any type to cast creature spells. So basically it's color fixing apart from the other ability to look at the top and play creatures from the top of the library, which is technically a card draw. With 8 more cards, we are on 34 out of 100. For the next bunch of cards, I was trying to look for cards which put 1/1 counters on my commander and on other creatures, and there is quite a limited number of cards of this kind here. One big creature is Apothecary Stomper, but it only puts on enters 2 1/1 counters on target creature for 6 mana 4/4. I will not play this. But what I found and think very strong is Felidar Retreat, which on each landfall creates a 2/2 white creature or put a 1/1 counter on each creature I control. So this definitely plays. Order of Nilea is ramp and a 1/1 buff at the same time, so we will try to play it. Felidar Savior is 4 mana, very similar, put 2 1/1 counters on 1/1 counters on 2 target creatures, so that can be played. It's lifelink. And then I have some protection spells: Fleeting Flight, Undying Malice, and Snakeskin Veil. These all put 1/1 counters on target creature, so I will play them. They are cheap and easy to play. And then we have this 6 mana Primeval Bounty spell, which can put 3 1/1 counters on target creature when you cast a non-creature spell, and has other abilities. Of course it's 6 mana, but we already know that this deck will run a lot of expensive cards, so it's fine to play this, I think. 7 new cards, bringing up the total to 42 cards now. I've put together a section of cards which are protection spells and removal spells. We have non-creature removal here, and then some counter spells, indestructible, and 2 creature and planeswalker removal, and some board vibes. One is all, and the other one is against 1 player, and then Basilisk Scholar, which gives Death Touch and Lifelink. With the addition of these 13 new cards, we are on 55 cards out of 100, which is getting very closer to the magical 60, where above it's probably mostly lands. So now I want to do a mana curve to see where are our holes. I've made the mana curve. We have the commander here and the only land in the deck, Command Tower so far. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 or more piles. The 2 halves of the pile are the interactive and non-interactive spells. What I mean is the interactive spells needs to be already something on the battlefield to react them or protect. So like Snakeskin Vial or Mortifier's removal or a board vibe. While the non-interactive spells, I can play them independently on my turn. So they are my creatures, and other stuff like mana ramp I can just do on my turn. What we can already see, that my interactive spells fall on the very cheap side. Most of them, except those 3, are 1, 2, or 3 mana, while most of my creatures are here at the end in the 6 or more mana column, and also 4 and 5 is quite deep. So what I need to do is find more 2 mana stuff I can play early and protect myself and be having a board presence basically. For this 1-2 mana slot, I found quite a few cards which could be good. I want to go through on them with you and then decide to see if we play it or not. So the first one I really want to play and will play is Scavenging Ooze, which is a 2 mana 2-2, 1 green, 1 colorless. And for 1 green mana, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a 1/1 counter on this creature and you gain 1 life. So it's a good early game card, but then it gives you life and it grows up high if later you have more mana. And also graveyard hate against decks which has creatures in graveyard which might be recursed. The second one is not a creature, but it's a rare from one of the play boosters I opened in the box. It's Authority of the Consuls, an enchantment which makes creatures your opponent control enter tapped, and whenever they have a creature entering, you gain 1 life. Basically, it's a quite good early insurance that they cannot attack you too fast, and you gain some life as well. Burglar Rat is a 2 mana 1/1 which makes each opponent discards a card which I will not play. Here are all of the other cards I've found. Strix Lookout, Mischievous Mystic, and Spectre's Trailer, both very cheap. All of them cares about card draw. Mischievous Mystic giving you flying creatures. This one is looting, and that one actually can you draw cards. So I will put all these blues in. Dragon Master Outcast is a 1/1 red, which is early game is not that good, but then if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon with flying in each of your upkeeps. So I will put this in just for fun. It seems good in team. And then we have Null Priest of Oblivion, which is a 2 mana creature, lifelink menace 2/1, so good early. But then you can kick it for 3 and a black. And then you return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, which with these many expensive creature cards sounds good. Widewood Scourge is also a good early game and late game as well, because it's an X mana spell with 1 green and enters with X 1/1 counters. And when 1 or more 1/1 counters are put on another non-hydra creature you control, put a 1/1 on this one. So this works very well with the commander, because the commander will get counters on spellcast, so this one will grow with it. So let's put it in. And we have 2 more cards here, Resolute Reinforcements and Ajanis Pridemate. This one is a flash 1/1, which gives you a 1/1 soldier token. It's good for blocking, but I don't think it's really I need it in early games, so I will cut this. And then Ajanis Pridemate grows with 1/1 counters when you gain a life. And it's a beautiful card with this frame. But I don't have that enough life gain and not enough cut synergies to play this one. So this is also on the cut. By adding 8 cards, we are on 63 out of 100. And let's quickly sort them into the right piles. I would like to show you these three cards. I will not add these, but what I want to show is that this static collection has quite a few color holes or color hater cards. 1 mana sorcery, destroy target green or white creature. 2 mana instant blue, counter target red or green spell. And 1 mana green creature, whenever an opponent casts a blue or a black spell, you may put a 1-1 counter on this creature. Both of them are really interesting, and if there would be a sideboard in Commander, I would run them. I've brought 5 more cards. One is Garruk's Uprising, which gives creatures you control have trample, and then whenever a creature you control enters with power 4 or greater, you draw a card. So it's a quite good draw engine with lots of big creatures in this deck, so I want to play it. There is 2 white instants here. One is Stroke of Midnight, which destroys target null and permanent its controller gets a 1-1 human. I need more removal, and this is quite universal, and there is no Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile in this collection, so this one will be used instead of those. Divine Resilience, on the meanwhile, is a protection spell for 1 mana. It gives Indestructible into one of my creatures, but I can kick it for 2 and a white and gives Indestructible to all of my creatures. And then we have 2 flying creatures here, a Vampire Nighthawk which has Death Touch and Lifelink, and Inspiring Overseer, which gives you a life and a card when you play it. I will add these cards now. They might be cut later, especially I am not sure about these 2, but I want to see the full deck before I decide on cuts. With 5 more cards added, we are on 68. So some cuts will definitely be needed. I will pick up all of the cards now, and we'll do 3 different stacks. 1 for ramp, and then 1 for card draw, and then 1 for removal. So these are the 17 cards which, when cast or activated, can remove immediately something from my opponent's board. I think that's a fine share. So these are the 13 cards which can draw cards, loot cards, or add cards otherwise other way to your hand. 10% of the deck, so like 10 cards, is the very bare minimum of card draw in a deck. So we are on 13. I will look through all the piles once more if we can find any other repeatable card draw which we might add. I have these 11 ramp cards, mana acceleration cards, in the deck, which is 10%, 10 cards is again the bare minimum. So we really need some more ramp and card draw. That's what is missing from the deck, and then we will need to make some cuts. I've put every single card I've cut, haven't used, or didn't choose so far into these piles here, and we'll go through on all of them and see if any more ramp or card draw I can find. I've sorted the cards into different piles. We have non-repeatable card draw here. I put all the colorless cards here because I want to think about them, and these are the repeatable card draws. And this one is completely different. I just found 2 cards which I probably would like to add later on. This one is a non-repeatable ramp because this is the only card I found which creates a treasure token. We will not play it, I just wanted to explain, so this goes back. Here in the non-repeatable card draw, there are 4 spells and the creature with raid ability, which just draws a card once, or maybe the thing twice when you flashback it. I just don't have space in the deck for any of these cards. These 2 black spells, creature and enchantment, are quite expensive and has downsides. Would need to play Harmless Offering to pass this to the opponent, but I don't want to put 1 combo card for another piece. How often they would come up together, and I just found this is not good enough for 1 card draw, so skip this. I really consider this Finale of Revelation. It's very expensive mana-wise if you want to draw a lot, but late game it can give you a full hand, untap 5 lands. I don't know. I would put this on consider. We might want to play it. As I mentioned earlier, I am not really sure about colorless mana ramp because of not triggering the commander. But the Burnished Heart is a creature. It can block, and it will come down before the commander usually because we want to ramp with it. So I would put this in for sure. This campus guide is only putting the land and the basic land on the top of the library, so no go. Heraldic Banners only give you one color, while we have a 5-color deck, so that's not like. Ravenous Amulet, for 1 mana you can sack a creature to draw a card, but it's only as a sorcery. So you cannot do it when trying to save a creature, and I don't have too much disposable creatures to use this. Mazemind Tome seems to be interesting. You can tap and scry, or 2 mana tap and put a counter to draw a card, which is basically, and then on 4 or more counters you exile it to gain 4 life. So you draw 4 cards with it over the time of 4 turns or more. I think this can be considered like Finery of Revelation, and the Expedition map is 1 mana and then 2 mana to search for any land. So that's good for color fixing, and again, I hope this would come out earlier than the commander itself, so we will put it in. Let's look at the repeatable card draw here. This says, whenever you cast a spell that targets this creature, draw a card. I don't think I have that many buffs that this would be good. This Dragon Mage is very interesting because it's very expensive, 7 mana 5/5 flying dead, but a dragon synergizes with the other dragons in the deck, and when it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards their hand and then draws 7 cards. But is that a benefit for me or a disadvantage? So this is really, I don't know, I will not play this actually. This one, sacrifice a creature to gain 1 life and draw a card. Again, I don't have enough creatures to sacrifice for this, so it's a skip. This one I would consider because I will play a lot of gates, as those are tapped dual lands, and then it cannot be blocked, and then when it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Even if it can be blocked, sometimes you can just sneak in, gateway sneak. So let's play this. Mentor of the Meek, 2 power or less creature enters, you may draw a card for 1 mana. It's 1 mana, and I don't have that many small creatures, so skip. This one, every player will draw a card. So it's again helping my opponent. It's similar to the Dragon Mage, so I don't want to play it. Midnight Reaper is pretty decent. When a creature you control dies, it deals you 1 damage and you draw a card. But do I want my creatures to die or want to save them? So I'm not keen on this. This one would tap 3, draw 3 cards, but it's 6 mana, so we will not play this. And with Garna, whenever another creature you control dies, draw a card if it was attacking. So again, do I want my creatures to be dying? No. So this is a no either. So I found these 2 cards. The Seismic Rapture for 2 and a red deals 2 damage to each creature without flying. There is a spell which deals 2 damage to each non-dragon. That would be also really nice, but it's not in this collection. And I know this is a sorcery, but it's kind of a board wipe, so I want to use this. And then Steel Hellkite, which is a dragon, and I know it's colorless, but for X, it destroys each non-land permanent with mana value X, whose controller was dealt combat damage by this creature this turn. So we can just hose some players with it. This is a very strong creature. So by adding these 7 cards, the total is now 73. We will definitely need some cuts here. We have not seen the deck by colors, so let's do a color sorting now. Initially it seemed that white will be the weakest color, but no, actually black has the least amount of cards. We have 11 colorless cards so far, and the multicolor ended up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 cards. To do the cuts, I will do also a typo sorting. Unsurprisingly, creatures are the strongest, and fitting my lifestyle and fitting my playstyle, instants are the second. We have 34 creatures here, so definitely the first cuts will happen from the creatures. The first cut I identified for cutting is Reclamation Sage. This has no other synergies of the cards in the deck, it's just removal for artifacts and enchantments. But I have Trigon Predator, which is also 3 mana. It's a flying creature, and when it deals damage to a player, I do the action again and again and again. So it's much better. Reclamation Sage is cat. One card down, we are on 72. Coming next at these three. Felidar Savior gives 1/1 counters to 2 target creatures and has lifelink, but it's a 4 mana and only 2/3 and does not fly. So I will cut it. Cloud Blazer, I don't really know. It's so weak for 5 mana 2/2, gives you 2 life and 2 cards, but again, it's not repeatable and we need to cut something, so this will go. And then Consuming Aberrations seems to be a very strong, very good card, but it's kind of, I don't cast that many spells, so will not trigger too many times because I have expensive spells mostly. And it's situational if it works or not, and no synergies with other cards in my deck, so I have to cut it. Down to 69 cards. So I need to make further cuts, and it's incredibly hard to do, but I just put the Seismic Rapture in, but decided that this is a sorcery, so I will cut this. This enchantment, it's an enchantment. If the creature gets removed, I lose it, so I can cut this. This creature has a card draw, but only once, and 3 mana, so being cut. This is very similar to the other creature, which I didn't put in, which you draw a card and lose a life when a creature you control died. This would trigger for opponent's creature as well, but it's 4 mana, and I don't find this strong. And the Negate is a counter spell for non-creature spells, but I'm not always able to counter when they cast. I need more removal, so this is gonna cut. And Basilisk Collar is a colorless. It gives you Death Touch, lifelink. Yeah, seems to be powerful, but something had to be cut, and this is the colorless spell I can take out. The final cut I will do is Upgrade, because this is not repeatable. Yeah, a great removal, but I prefer things which I can do multiple times. So Upgrade is going off. I have 62 cards in the deck, 1 commander and 1 land so far. Out of these, 36 more lands to go, but before we will sort the deck into colors again. By magic, the sorting is done again. Let's count the mana pips. White has 2 double pips and 8 non-double pips, so that's 14 altogether on mono white cards. Blue again has 2 double pips, but just 4 regulars, so that's 10 altogether. 2 double and 3 single pips on black, to the total of 7. Mono red cards are only 2 + 1 + 1, 4. Green has no double pips, 11 regular pips, which is great because I want to base the mana base on green, so I can ramp as quickly as possible. In the multicolor cards, we have 6 white pips, including 1 which is a double. 8 blue pips, including a double. 5 single black pip cards. With that huge Aurelia, we have 7 red pips. And finally, 9 in green with 1 double pip. I only have tabbed dual lands in the starter collection. There are 10 dual color Guild Gates. These are colorless, yes. And then 10 dual color lands which gains you a life. And these. And then 10 Scry lands. So that adds up to 30 dual color lands, but then all of them would came tabbed. So what I think about is that I will cut down on the pairs which has the least common mana pips in between them. So the red and the blacks a little bit. And I also have a few utility lands here. Demolition Field destroys a land and also lets you search for a basic land, so it's good for mana fixing as well as Evolving Wilds. Rouge Passage is to get through some damage, and this Cryptic Caves acts as a card draw if you have 5 or more lands. I will not play that Cryptic Cave. I need more colored mana. I will play 9 of the Skylands because they basically let me filter the top of the library, but will not play any of the black-red dual lands, so these 3 are already out. With the 3 colorless lands, we have 12 new cards in the deck. Let's go now the other way around. Put those lands in which I really need. The white-blue, yes, not the red-blue. Blue, the green-blue, yes. White-blue, yes. Not the black one, not the red one, not the red one, not the black one, not the black one, not the red one. White-blue, yes. Green-blue, yes. Okay. And then one more of these. So basically we have both of those pairs. That's 6 lands. With 6 more lands, the land count is 19 out of 37. Let's add some basic lands now. I prepared 2 lands for each color and will add more green and maybe white and blue. 29 lands so far. I've added 4 more basic lands, including 2 forests, and these 4 tapped dual lands to complete the deck. I will put everything onto Moxfield, which might help me with land and color distribution and might change some of the dual lands to other pairs to make the right balance. I did an initial shuffle, so let's draw 7 cards and look if we need to mulligan or can play it. Land, 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 a removal spell, another land, and 1 creature. Would you keep this hand? Let me know in the comments, please. To have a playable hand, I probably would mulligan this, though you can start with scrying 1, you draw 1 immediately in your first turn. It's an 8 mana creature. There is no ramp and no card draw. That's what really bothers me here. So this is how do you build a commander deck from the starter collection. Please, if you have any questions, any remarks, write into the comments, and I will greatly appreciate your support if you subscribe to my channel. Thank you. See you next time.